Namaskar, welcome back to your favorite show Media Scan on DD India. Viewers, for a long time, technology has been used by jihadi groups, extremist people and terror groups to carry on their nefarious designs. But these days, the use of artificial intelligence, deepfakes and such other tools has caused real concern to experts globally and most particularly in our subcontinent. So, how are these tools being used by terror groups and threatening our national security? And most importantly, how can we counter these efforts? This is what we are going to discuss on Media Scan this weekend, and we have experts working on the subject for a long time. But before that, a quick look at this report.
Here's the thing about terror groups and AI. They are not just online spreading ideas anymore. They are actively using artificial intelligence in ways you might not expect, from ordering bomb materials through platforms like Amazon to creating deepfakes and AI-generated propaganda that spreads their messages silently but powerfully. Take the Pulwama attackers, for example. Reports reveal they procured key bomb components via Amazon, exploiting the gaps in e-commerce oversight. Now, deepfakes and generative AI takes this to another level. Terror groups are crafting synthetic media, images and videos so realistic they blur the lines between truth and fabrication. But they don't stop there. AI-powered chatbots can engage potential recruits individually, adapting their pitch to personal beliefs and interests. And money? Cryptocurrencies combined with AI-driven trading bots and hacking tools now open fresh channels for terror financing. They can trade crypto smarter or even steal funds from digital wallets, fueling their operations in the shadows. On the flip side, AI also offers tools for counter-terrorism, from real-time surveillance detecting suspicious behavior to algorithm spotting and removing extremist content online. Still, it's a cat and mouse game. The very tech that helps us fight terror can be turned against us.
So, as you can see from the report, these are some very sinister developments. And to go down this topic, let me come to our guest for this evening. I have here with me in the DD studios, Subemal Bhattacharya, expert on everything related to technology. Namaskar Dada, good to have you back.
Namaskar Sidmati.
Also with us, Dr. Soumya Avasthi. She is a researcher, and Dr. Avasthi very recently has written a paper on exactly this topic, which is a mine of information for people like us. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And once again, Dr. Abhinav Pandya, expert on radicalization, terror and other related issues, particularly in this subcontinent. So, if I can come to Dr. Soumya first. Ma'am, I was just going through the paper that you have published very recently, and it seems while technology has been used by these elements, extremist groups and jihadi organizations, the current developments are somehow much more alarming. How would you explain it?
So yes, earlier there was a statement we used to give that terrorist organizations are going towards digitization, but I think now the landscape has completely digitized with the easy and cheap availability of technology, whether it is about recruitment, radicalization, or misinformation and spreading of violence, inciting violence in the community, or even to breach security and training of the critical infrastructures within our country or abroad as well. It has become a very easy tool to access, unlike the traditional or conventional methods where we often saw that guns and bombs were used for fighting, were used by the terrorist organizations against the state mechanism, but now they need not come out on the field. They can operate very much in from the room and can carry out their operations, intimidate people, carry out psychological warfare, and in fact carry out financial network also for fundraising of terrorist activities. So the situation is definitely grim, and we are seeing the trends of how theft identity is taking place by the by creating fake Aadhaar cards and PAN cards using chat GPT tools or similar kinds. And this has been quite an common trend we saw between India-Bangladesh border, where a lot of people have entered our country with fake cards. And if I have to give you a small average on how many people it can be for a month, then probably 80 to 90 or say 100 people are caught every month when they cross the border with fake Aadhaar cards and PAN cards. And
And
this
you
is
think
just a number
jihadi groups or extremist organizations are facilitating this?
most of the time, yes, it has been found during the investigation that some of them did carry fake Aadhaar cards and ID cards, which were part of the terrorist groups. But also, it has become one of the causes of illegal migration as well.
Yes.
And when you talk about illegal migration, it's not just a basic push and pull factor that supports the migration, but it's more about these migrants sometimes getting involved into the cybercrime or even crime within the country or in the state
Yes.
they are
Yes.
hosted by.
So, Dr. Soumya, it will please you to know that another report has recently come out on this and related issues, which give special focus on what is happening on our northeast, which you also kind of referred to just now. And one of the persons, one of the experts associated with that study is here with us now, and I'll ask Subimolda more about it. Dada, please tell us a few big points about that report that you and your friends have just prepared, and how does it sort of flag the security concerns in India's northeast vis-a-vis these AI platforms and such technology?
Thank you, Smitadi. I think this is a very pertinent topic at this point of time, and thus, we did this study and report for the Northeast primarily. So, this is done by a think tank called SHARE, which has eminent people, including the former Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, the former DGP of Assam, the former Eastern Army Commander, the former Foreign Secretary, and few of us who work in this area. So, we have covered the whole gamut of what happens around the terror infrastructure in the whole of the Northeast and how it has a bearing on national security per se. So, when we did…
And where does the technology come into it?
So, basically technology is one of the connectors today, wherever you look at or any particular space, and particularly when it comes to Northeast. You have seen that there were a lot of groups that some had insurgency issues, but many of them had also had international linkages and all. And a lot of their communication initially at the beginning and recruitments, and you can say indoctrination, actually used to happen through emails or any other kind of a media. But what recently has happened is that all of these entities, now good part is that our Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, diligently got most of them into the negotiating table, and more than 13 accords were signed in the last 5 years. So, there is peace, but there are still a lot of groups who are operating in the region and have a lot of their people outside the region, and that is where they still use the digital space to communicate. What is alarming now is that with AI coming, this has become a force multiplier for them. Many of them are getting trained in AI tools, they are pushing out deepfakes, and many of them, beyond propaganda, they are also trying to give life to these organizations which otherwise would have been crushed because there is no popular support left anymore. So, it is very, very important.
So, with technology, organizations which had lost support on the ground are trying to revive their cadres and their
I think it's
subjects.
Yeah, presence that they are trying to show, which actually is fake today, you can say. It's not to that extent they are possible, but because of the enhancement that this operates, provides, and then at the same time they are honing their skills for future cyber attacks, for certain cyber physical attacks and all. So, many of them are getting trained in that direction. So, now one man could also be dangerous because cyberspace offers anonymity, geography does not have any meaning. So, somewhere sitting he could do something catastrophic like attacking a critical infrastructure in the country and all. So, all of these things have to be really looked at from a much more larger national security perspective than only some individual activity with technology.
Yes, not in isolated
Absolutely.
manner. So I'd like to come to Dr. Abhinav Pandya here. Abhinav, you have seen that technology has started making things very easy for these elements. It's not like there were no terror groups earlier, but indoctrination has become that much more easier and also wide ranging. Recruitment can be done online, and as Dada was saying, even after losing public support on the ground, they are able to enhance their influence through these technical tools. So from the purview of radicalization, recruitment and funding, how do you see the way these technologies are being harnessed by jihadi groups, other terror organizations?
Thank you very much, Smitaji, for this very interesting question. Well, I feel that the nexus between terror and technology is very old, and technology is used in multiple ways. I mean, it's multifaceted. I'll just give you a few examples. So, on one hand, you have terrorist groups. They operate in a very clandestine manner, and the way they use technology is for their communications, and for which they are using encrypted communication applications. So, we are all familiar with the use of WhatsApp. In that entire Pulwama Fidain attack, the entire case was opened because of the WhatsApp chat of Umar Farooq with the Jaish handlers based in Pakistan. So after that, after the Pulwama Fidain attack, NIA was investigating the case for about 9 months, and they had absolutely no clue. Then there was an encounter in Jammu and Kashmir in which some fellow named Idris Bhai had died. So Idris Bhai was a code name of Umar Farooq, who was the Jaish Muhammad commander and nephew of Maulana Masood Azhar. So his chat was recovered, and they took the help of Americans to de-encrypt that and understand the chat. And once that chat was opened, the entire case was opened. So we see the use of Signal. Then there was a Turkish app called BIP. After India imposed security and communication lockdown in Kashmir, they started innovating further. For example, some of their most recent innovations include the use of ultrasets. So ultraset is something which is a non-satellite phone, and it works on ultra high frequencies. Its circular error probability is 3.5 kilometers. That means when it opens, you cannot pinpoint its precise location. You can just reach like somewhere in about 3 to 3.5 kilometers. So by the time you reach, the person has already gone.
Yes.
Besides that, they're using bridge IFI. So bridge IFI is again a radio-based technology which works up to the range of 300 meters. And for close communications, terrorist groups are using that. So that's completely non-detectable. They are also placing modems in mobile towers secretly, modems close to the border. So with that, they can receive messages, from across the border. So these are the ways in which they are using technology. Now coming to the that's again a second part, radicalization and the recruitment and propaganda. So for that, they are mostly using artificial intelligence. ISIS has used it still, but still, people, experts like Ali Sofan and all, they are claiming that the way ISIS is using right now, it's very crude. I mean, it's not very advanced. But the ISIS has the ability to adapt and innovate very fast, so they can catch up very fast. So for this, recruitment, they particularly use generative AI to create I would say fabricated or fake news anchors and motivational or religious preachers who can play messages or just quotes verses from the religious scriptures. Also for recruitment, they can customize using AI. They can identify the specific vulnerabilities of a particular group. For example, if they are reaching out to the Muslim youth in Rajasthan, they will exactly know what problems they are facing or what are the grudges that they have. So they would customize, the content according to that. Then these AI chatbots can interact with them, and then they can just work accordingly. And we saw that ISIS was very advanced in using these technologies, particularly when it was during its heydays. Also, they were mostly doing online recruitment. They have excellent publications in terms of magazines, videos. Even in Kashmir, you see these new groups like TRF and PAFF. They are using excellent social media content. Now, the third part is using AI and using these images, audio, video tapes, very well developed, nicely created for massive social level propaganda, not just for individual indoctrination or radicalization, but for a widespread social propaganda to influence the public opinion and I would say, to create also for the psyops. They can use these technologies to create fault lines in India. For example, we have a very diverse and a very varied population in terms of its religious nature, in terms of the tribal nature, in terms of caste issues and all. So they can using these AI technologies, doctored videos, deep fakes, by showing some political leader making some some statement against a particular caste or a religious group. They can sow the seeds of discord and create a massive fight.
I would like to come to Dr. Soumya as well. Dr. Soumya, we have seen for at least 2-3 years now how social and religious and regional fault lines are being exploited by these terror groups very clandestinely and in a very sympathetic kind of manner, if I may use the word. But it is actually trying to sow discontent among the people, create a kind of an anger, provoke them to come out on the streets. It's all part of a toolkit. But while we have been observing all this, the moot question is, are we as a system, in the government, as a society, equipped to find out, to identify such elements when such content is pushed on our devices? And how can AI help us to counter these propaganda which is being pushed from us through these people?
It's an important question, and firstly, before going on to answering how well India is equipped, I think I'll just quickly highlight one more point, that the recent trend has also been seen about how the gaming platforms have become a very important tool.
Yes.
And they are using it to exploit the digital natives, the term that has been given for the youth of the country or to the youth globally, that they are digital natives because they are born in this technological era where the mobile phones and tabs are easy access. So they are becoming the soft target for these kinds of propaganda activities, and and that is why, coming back to the question that how well are we equipped, I think Indian government is trying its level best to ensure that we have enough laws in place which can help us counter these technological challenges of security. So yes, we do have enough acts in place like UAPA, IT Act, IT rule, and we have been amending them regularly. Then there is a new DPDP Act.
Yes.
We also have our Online Gaming Bill Act 2025, which is a key and milestone step that government has taken. And other than these things, I think there are still small key gaps which are still we need to address them. For example, we need to have a language. The language barrier is something which often comes in our way when we are countering these online media, because most of this is either in English or in any regular spoken or most popular languages. But many a times the content is also in colloquial languages, which not every cyber crime unit is trained in. So I think that bhasha becomes one of the basic hurdles in our countering of these technological menace.
Let's get a take from Subimal also on that. Subimal, there are certain gaps, as Dr. Soumya just pointed out, but our governments have been trying to upgrade their laws constantly. The DPDP Act went through a lot of changes and upgradations after getting feedback from all the stakeholders, and now the government has come with the Gaming Act, which tries to ensure that these gaming platforms, money gaming and others, are not used by enemies of the nation. So what do you think are still the gaps where we need to address the situation to be up to date in countering these threats?
Yeah, I think I'm glad Soumya mentioned about the recent bill for the promotion of online gaming, which was passed by Parliament. So the intent basically is to see that how you close these gaps, and for that apart from the laws, the capacity building in the law enforcement to be able to handle it from all angles. First of course you must have intelligence. Two, when cases happen, how do you investigate and get to the pinpointed perpetrator? And third, what are the efforts happening in terms of honing up new skills and using predictive analysis, etc., to be able to gauge where the whole virus is spreading or where the problem is. So, I think the law enforcement capacity building is very, very important. Today, it is skewed across the states. See, law and order is a state subject. So, policing primarily is with the states. Different states have different levels of competency, and very many times the coordination also among the states for looking at cyber crimes and enhanced cyber crimes today AI enabled it's sometimes seen to be not to that optimal level that you would want. You know, you have national helpline numbers. Very many times people have an issue with the 1930 also not getting a call. So,
and now Home Ministry has a dedicated unit to
yeah,
track these things.
I4C is doing a great
I4C.
job, you know, even on the financial crimes front, a lot of this, and a lot of this kind of crimes are actually undertaken by terrorists and terrorist sympathizers. Gaming was one area where a lot of money and information was going out of the country. So, government plugged it, but besides that there are so many other aspects in which such kind of pursuits are being undertaken by them.
Fine.
So I think capacity building for law enforcement to my mind is very, very important.
Yes, I'll carry on with the same topic to Abhinav Panda very quickly. Abhinav, we have very little time left on the show. So quickly want to understand from you, while it is true that governments are trying to, upgrade themselves quickly, both state and at the center, and cyber units have been set up in every state down to the district and even to the Thana level. But is it also not a fact that while the terror groups are upgrading themselves very fast, like Soumya just mentioned, our policemen, our personnel really need much more training in this area, and a lot of times they are themselves not ready to identify or follow or track such elements by the time it comes to them. And so, by the time we are able to track it, we are able to stop it, it has already spread very wide.
I think I agree with you, because this technology and terror groups, like, it's a cat and mouse game. They're always innovating and they're doing it very fast. Some of the chaps, the proper terrorist actors, their OGWs, I have met them and I found them very smart. The people who are handling the social media or the technology, internet related stuff, drones of Lashkar-e-Taiba, they are really good at their subject. But the problem with our system is that things are very archaic, and although these cyber units have been set up in multiple states, but the cyber literacy and the standards are in a very bad shape. They are pathetic. Even the basic skills in cyber literacy which are required to tackle these things, they are quite missing. For example, in Udaipur, this Kanhaiya murder case happened, after the Nupur Sharma episode. And after that, all the communications were happening in their closed groups on WhatsApp. They were not using any other like extraordinary or out of the world app, but they were using WhatsApp. They had secret groups. But here the local police, the people of the ranks of IGP, SP had absolutely zero clue. And when the new fellow came, SP, and finally, after that episode, when they got access to those, they confiscated the phones and they got access to those, hidden conversations, they could hardly understand anything, and it was revealed that the chaps from this small sleepy town were traveling to Pakistan since 2013 through the Nepal route. So things are really dark, and whatever we may say, we may boast about our cyber grip and making advancements, we are in a real bad shape. You asked a question about the cyber units.
Yes,
let me
quickly,
tell you, cyber
Abhinav.
units, needs great refurbishing and a complete overhaul. As far as AI is concerned, we don't have a data. Most of the applications operating in India, they are governed, they are run by the US. So, at any stage when it comes to national security, we are extremely vulnerable to foreign actors.
Fine, but it is also a fact that during Operation Sindoor, when we were flooded with misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, our units tried their best to fight it. There was a whole setup, a whole mechanism which was trying to counter the propaganda. However, I am afraid we'll have to wrap up this conversation at this point. I really have no time left on the show, and the subject is vast. Perhaps we should get together on another episode to go deeper into it. For now, Abhinav Pandya and Dr. Soumya Avasthi, thank you very much for joining us to discuss this subject and share your perspective. And Subhemal Bhattacharya, always so gracious to join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, as our experts have just pointed out, it is true that terrorists are trying to make the most of technology and upgrading themselves fast, but our governments are alert to the threat and they are also prepared to counter it. However, there is an important role we as citizens can also play by not believing everything that is pushed on our devices by these nefarious elements. Wait for a while, check your information, and perhaps you may become an important instrument in saving the society, the country. On that note, it's a wrap up on Media Scan. Do join us next weekend. Namaskar.